Hello everyone, welcome to today's video, Introduction to Syntax. Okay, what is syntax? Syntax is the branch of linguistics that studies the principles and rules for making phrases and sentences in any language. This branch focuses on the word order of a language and the relationships between the words. Since we were very little, we acquired the rules to make sentences in our native language and probably also in our second language. But what did we do with these rules? We internalized them. So uh, now we have like a subconscious grammatical knowledge on how to make sentences in our first language and also in our second language. Then if we already have this grammatical knowledge, why is it important to study or analyze sentences? Well, it is important because in contrast with vocabulary, we do not store all the sentences that we said in the past or all the possible sentences that we will say in the future. Instead of sentences, we have rules. So what we have in our brains are rules and mental lexicon, that is the vocabulary. So, and why don't we have sentences in our brain? Well, because the sentences are unlimited. So all the possible sentences that we can say are unlimited, whereas the set of rules are finite. The sequences of words that conform to the rules of a language are grammatical. So that is, we have a word order in every language, and the word order depends on the language. As for example, in English, we start sentences with the subject, then the verb, and then the object. Whereas in Irish, for example, they start their sentences with the verb, then the subject, and then the object. Then we know that the sequences of these words are grammatical. So if we follow the word order, we can come up with grammatically correct sentences. Then, as I mentioned before, the word order in English is subject, verb, object. And we have an example here. So we have here the girl ate an apple. So if we analyze the word order of this sentence, we know that the subject is the girl, ate is the verb, and an apple is the object. Why do I mean by that? Subject is the one that carries out the action. Verb is the action or state, and the object is the one that receives the action. As we can see, here's a little girl eating the apple, right? And then the girl ate an apple is a sentence. The syntactic category or the syntactic class are the possible combinations of words. In this case, the girl is one syntactic category, then ate is another one, and an apple is another syntactic category or syntactic class. And finally, the other elements that we can find in a sentence is the lexical category, that is the part of the speech. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have 5 parts of the speech in this sentence. So what we will do in the following slides, we're going to analyze every word in terms of its part of the speech or the lexical category. Then we're going to see the possible combinations of words that we need in order to come up with a sentence. So the sentence will be our last outcome. Okay, parts of the speech. There are nine parts of the speech in English. I will mention them and I will give you an example of every one of them. Then we will just focus on the first 4. So we have nouns as in book, library, country, student. Adjective as in beautiful, tall, big, old. Verb as in sleep, study, be, sing. Adverbs as in fast, beautifully, quickly. Then we have determiners that can be articles like a, an, the, or numbers 1, 2. Then we have prepositions as in on, in, at, conjunctions that join two ideas, and, the, or, however, pronouns that substitute nouns, I, you, them, we, and interjections that are mainly expressions like wow, ew, oh. Okay, so the noun is the name of a thing. So all the possible nouns are names, and their function in a sentence is to be either the subject or the object. And sometimes in combination with prepositions, they can work also as adverbs, adverbs of place or time, as in, for example, in the school, that's place, or in the morning, time. Then adjectives are words that describe nouns, and that's their only function. They don't really have like with respect to the verb, they don't have a function. So their main purpose in this life is to describe the noun. Then the verbs can be actions or states. Action is a verb that can be perceived with our five senses. So if we take, for example, the verb sleep, you can see someone sleeping. Or for example, the verb eat, we can see someone chewing and swallowing food. So we can perceive that verb as well as singing. But states like be, if I tell you I'm Mexican, I'm not doing anything to be Mexican, I'm just Mexican. Or if I say I want a hamburger, I'm not doing anything, so you will have to believe me if I tell you I want a hamburger. Then they are the predicate. Well, all verbs, actions, and states, they are the predicate in a sentence. Then we have adverbs, and these words describe the verb, the adjective, or other adverbs. So the ones that describe the verbs are adverbs of manner. Well, there are different types of adverbs, but mainly adverbs of manner and frequency, and the verbs, and also time and place. And the adverbs that describe the adjectives and adverbs are adverbs of degree. Those are like very, so we can say very beautiful or very fast. So adverbs of degree describe adjectives and other adverbs, and the rest of the adverbs describe the verb. Then they normally answer questions as in when, where, how, why, etc. So they answer those questions in a sentence. Then here we have the little boys play soccer happily. So we can see that the is an article, little is an adjective, boys is a noun, and the little boys, they all together are the subject, especially boys. Then we have play, which is the predicate, and then soccer is the object, and happily is an adverb of manner that is describing how the action is being done. Okay, now the syntactic category. So these are the phrase structure rules. So these are the rules in which I can possibly combine two words. And so in order to have a sentence, I need a noun phrase and a verb phrase. And here I have an example, dogs bark. So this is a complete and correct sentence. Then a noun phrase is made up of a noun principally, but as an option I can have a determiner and also an adjective phrase or a prepositional phrase. In my example, I have just the determiner and the adjective phrase and the noun, the big dogs. Then my verb phrase is made up of a verb principally, and then as an option I can have noun phrase, prepositional phrase, and adverbial phrase. So this really depends on the verb. In this case, in my example, I have bark loudly, so I just have a verb and an adverb phrase. Then my prepositional phrase is made up of a preposition and a noun phrase. So in this case, I have my preposition, which is in, and my noun phrase, the determiner, the, and morning, my noun. Then an adjective phrase is made up of a degree adverb and an adjective. The adjective is a principal one. The degree adverb is an option. Then a very big. So as I told you, very is just optional. Then my adverb phrase is also made up of an adverb and as an option an adverb of degree. And here I have my example, quite loudly. So these are the possible combinations of words. Now that we have seen every single word, that we have analyzed every single word and the possible combinations of words, we're going to analyze this sentence. So we're going to start from the grammatical category, from the lexical category, that is the type of word that we have, and also the combinations that we see, and in order to come up with a sentence. So as we can see here, we have a determiner. Okay, I'm going to use black, I'm sorry, purple. I have a determiner, I have an adjective. So this adjective is part of an adjective phrase. Here I have a noun. Okay, so actually, well, these three are part of my noun phrase. Okay, then I have a verb here, and here I need to analyze or see that quite is modifying loudly. So this is a degree. This is a degree that is modifying the adverb. So these two belong to the same category, syntactic category. So that is my adverb phrase. Then I have in the morning. This is telling me when the action is happening, but this is a prepositional phrase. So in this prepositional phrase, I have my preposition. I have a determiner, but this determiner depends on the noun. So these two are a noun phrase, and at the same time, the preposition and the noun phrase are a prepositional phrase. So as we can see in this verb phrase, my verb phrase is made up of a verb, an adverb phrase, and a prepositional phrase. And as we saw before, in order for us to have a sentence, we need a noun phrase and a prepositional phrase. And this is how we analyze every word in a sentence and the relationship between the combination of words. Wrap up. Okay, so in this video we learned the rules we need to follow in order to make grammatically correct sentences. We know that we need to follow the word order. So we basically learned the type of vocabulary that we can find in any language, and especially in English, and that is the lexical category, or the part of the speech, so the type of word. Then we also learned the possible combinations that we can make with those words, which are the syntactic categories. And we also learned the possible combinations of syntactic categories that we can make in order to come up with a grammatically correct sentence. Then we have another example of a sentence. This is a very famous sentence made by Noam Chomsky, who is an important linguist. So we have colorless green ideas sleep furiously. As we can see, if we analyze this sentence, this one follows all the rules that we saw. We have adjectives, we have nouns, we have verbs, adverbs, all the syntactic categories are well done. So we followed all the rules, but still this one doesn't make sense. So with this last example, we learned that even though we can follow all the rules, all the syntactic rules, we need to pay attention to the meaning. So now I invite you to go to the semantics video and learn a little bit about meaning. So bye bye.